5 Conservative Prime Ministers, 7 Chancellors, 8 Foreign Secretaries and no fewer than 16 Housing Ministers. And by some reckonings, the average Briton is around £10,000 a year worse off in real terms than in 2010. The 4th of July has marked the death of 14 years under the Tory party rule. In 2010, David Cameron limped into Parliament, assisted by a coalition with Nick Clegg's Liberal Democrat Party.
We have to accept that we fell short of an overall majority. Our big, open and comprehensive offer to the Liberal Democrats involves helping them to implement key planks of their election manifesto.
In 2013, Parliament passed the Same-Sex Couples Marriage Act by 400 votes to 175. Worth noting, though, that 135 Tory MPs voted against the bill. Then, in 2014, Scotland voted 55% to 45% against independence in a victory for Cameron and the main national political parties over the SNP.
The people of Scotland have spoken. Like millions of other people, I am delighted.
The nation rewarded the Conservatives with an unexpected majority win in the 2015 general election, and David Cameron was graced with a second term as Prime Minister.
I truly believe we're on the brink of something special in our country.
3 widely acclaimed laws were passed in this year. Revealing the gender pay gap legislation meant large companies are now forced to disclose whether they are paying men more than women. The Modern Slavery Act gave law enforcers stronger powers and perpetrators harsher punishments, while the Shared Parental Leave Act was praised for allowing eligible parents to choose whether they wanted to share the mother's maternity leave allowance. Cameron's premiership would ultimately be decided on his biggest gamble, his manifesto promise of a referendum on EU membership.
The choice is in your hands. I believe that Britain will be safer, stronger and better off in a reformed European Union.
The UK voted 52 to 48% in favour of leaving, ending a more than 40-year union and plunging the country into its biggest political crisis since World War II. David Cameron resigned and took himself and his wife away on no less than 4 holidays to lick his wounds. As Cameron left, Theresa May arrived in 2016, where the party experienced near civil war due to the practical issues encountered over Brexit.
Following the referendum, we face a time of great national change.
May called a snap election in 2017 to strengthen her position and lost her majority against the Jeremy Corbyn-led Labour Party.
It is clear that only the Conservative and Unionist Party has the legitimacy and ability to provide that certainty by commanding a majority in the House of Commons.
Marred by political hurdles and backlash, in March 2019, May said that she would not lead the UK in the next stage of Brexit negotiations.
I have done everything I can to convince MPs to back that deal. Sadly, I have not been able to do so.
And Conservative MPs chose Boris Johnson in her stead, who was one of the main faces of the pro-Brexit campaign. May was gone and Boris Johnson led the Conservatives to a sweeping win in a snap election. Campaigning under the slogan,
"Get Brexit done,"
the Tories enjoyed their biggest election win since Margaret Thatcher's landslide in 1987. Britain finally exited the EU on the 31st of January 2020, which represented one of Britain's biggest ever geopolitical shifts. First, the positives. The Domestic Abuse Act was passed in 2021, which aimed to give the justice system more powers to protect survivors of domestic violence. Then, one of the biggest health and economical disasters in centuries struck the world. Boris Johnson led the country through the COVID pandemic.
If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no.
While major successes in UK vaccine engineering meant the first arm to receive a vaccine against COVID-19 was British, and the rapidity of the rollout of Rishi Sunak's furlough scheme deserved praise, Johnson became unstuck due to his fundamentally unserious character. Being photographed at Westminster parties while families were deprived of seeing their loved ones in hospital during their final moments led to a mass ministerial revolt, and Johnson was forced to step down. The 4th Prime Minister's reign was Unfortunately for her, the shortest in British history. Even a wilting lettuce in the Daily Star's viral video feed lasted longer than Liz Truss did in office, where her disastrous Truss-Kwarteng mini-budget crashed the economy in September 2022 and ended her tenure at 44 days.
That is a disgrace.
By the end of 2022, the UK's economy was in a poor state, not helped by Russia's invasion in Ukraine, which caused an energy price spike. Rishi Sunak, who had been widely respected in his role as Chancellor, took the reins. Sunak may have managed to steady the ship, but his unpopular Rwanda deal to stop net migration, along with his awkward encounters with the general public, hadn't led to his favour in the polls.
There'll be all sorts of things that I would have wanted as a kid that I couldn't have, right? Famously, Sky TV.
He was, after all, the richest ever occupant of 10 Downing Street. We now look to a rebirth of a new Britain with Keir Starmer's Labour Party. But what will change? Time will ultimately tell.